coins, right? So the bank, although strictly speaking, it doesn't align with the risk appetite, you gotta find a solution to service that client. Otherwise, it's gonna go next door, right? So I think it's changing both strategy-wise, culture-wise. You gotta give more and more flexibility to the employees. So yeah, Darren, not sure if you want to add something on that.
Yeah, to be honest, I think it really depends, I would say, because you see that. So while I'm answering this question, I'll also answer Jane's question about Bitcoin as well. So with this, right, I think COVID, what it really did in the current environment is that it didn't really, if you think about it carefully, it didn't really impact a lot of things, but it kind of sped out the process. So what is going to happen a bit faster than it would have. Did it really stop anything or affect anything? No. Okay, look at the facts, right? So we have this, let's say, ongoing trend into fintech and ongoing trend into technology growth, which has been happening for the past 5 years. You have so many different things coming up. In my team, for example, when we're handling portfolio management, we are no longer doing these PowerPoint slides, formatting the fonts, putting the charts together. We have automated software provider and data provider that does this automated kind of reporting. So these things are already happening, right? But what COVID did is, because COVID pushed people into the edge and pushed banking into the edge that they have to adopt it now. They might have planning on adopting it and might be thinking about it, but now they don't have a choice anymore but to adopt these technologies. So in a way, COVID simply sped everything up. So in a way, I think it's kind of a natural selection thing where it's making all the banks trying to improve themselves and try to fast forward their progress. In terms of Bitcoin, it's developing as well. So in the past, the whole mindset about Bitcoin, I'm sure, hasn't really changed. And that is, the truth is, Bitcoin has no fundamental value, right? And we know that. Does that mean that it's not worth investing in? No, because it's a huge profit opportunity, right? Imagine having a Bitcoin going from 10,000 US dollars to 50,000 US dollars. You have such a big amount of profit, and a lot of people, not just people like us, the retail investors, even high net worth individuals or institutional investors, they are all human and they all have the fear of missing out. And of course, so then even if we had this belief, we'll still try to find a way to basically launch products related to Bitcoin because of the demand. And as we know, when there's a demand, there has to be a supply, because this is a revenue generating opportunity. And in terms of RBC wealth management, and that's the step that we're taking towards. Actually, we recently just had a huge meeting with different hedge fund managers, different Bitcoin hedge fund managers, actually. And among those meetings, in a couple of these meetings, our head of investment and products, so he is basically the thing about him as a CIO of RBC Global RBC Wealth Management. He was actually on this call, so that basically shows how serious we are actually taking into considering launching Bitcoin-related products. But you do have to bear in mind that Bitcoin do not have any fundamental value, and profit opportunities from Bitcoin really relates to making arbitrage and finding a little bit of inefficiencies from places to places, such as different speed in different exchanges. So Coinbase might be a bit slower by a fraction of seconds than let's say Kraken. So then you have this tiny bit of arbitrage opportunity where you can buy the Bitcoin in a split of a second before the price moves on the other exchange. So it's mainly started this. And one interesting point to note during my meeting with a Bitcoin hedge fund manager is that he himself literally was being quite honest, and he himself admitted that we don't really understand what Bitcoin is about, and what we don't really understand if there's any value or not. And we know that it's not supposed to be used as a perfect money generating opportunity, but it's more used as an alternative source of income, you say. Another interesting fun fact that says is that we know that Bitcoin is not going to be a major profit generator, and that's why we recommend only having a small proportion of your portfolio, let's say 5 to 1% in Bitcoin, because anytime it could crash. and it's a little bit unpredictable, and they are relying on this unpredictability to try to speculate as much as they can. So this is something that's quite interesting that should be aware of, because I think a lot of investors, they think that Bitcoin is of value, and they are of significant transactional power in the future, and that's why people are buying Bitcoin, and it's worth investing in Bitcoin. So I guess I want to say that the truth is that's not the case, and it's always going to be a speculative instrument, but it represents the opportunity. Any opportunity we have, we shouldn't miss it.
All right. Guess we have a few more questions. So want to pick up the questions? Ariel, Darren?
Yeah, I'm just looking at Jane's question. Do you need to have previous knowledge about banking? I suppose you refer to getting into banking. You absolutely don't have to have any experience to get into banking. I certainly didn't have any, so I think you don't need to have previous knowledge or experience. You just need to be curious and eager to learn, and that's it. Petros, what would you say is your biggest professional achievement so far? How you work and why? I think for me, certainly was being on the trading floor, the FX trading floor specifically during elections, and then when the Fed cut the interest rates, and then just the 2020 crash, really, right? The volume of the transactions, it just went through the roof. It was 10, 15 times more volume, trades which we had to deal with and settle and cover the risk in the market. So the days certainly got longer, and it felt like it was never going to end. But you just manage and deal with it, and then you just feel so good after that, and you get the reward as well. So in terms of achievement, I think that was certainly mine. Just having these big moments so early in my career and coping with them. Darren, do you want to add on that one?
I would say yes. I agree largely on everything that Ari says. It's definitely, you don't definitely need anything really, any sort of experience, any sort of knowledge to come in. But do not confuse that with you not needing any sort of internship, because that, I think you have to kind of separate these two separately, because these days it's getting quite competitive. Let's be realistic. So the internship itself is not being on, let's say, a government some internship does not mean that it's going to prepare you for knowledge that you have and giving you advantage in, let's say if you are applying for M&A, doing the M&A internship is not going to give you advantage over other people for getting a job. But what matters during this internship is the name of certification. It's a certification benefit, essentially. Let's say if you have some sort of summer internship, it's like a stamp on your CV that says you have done this, you have been approved by someone else, and that makes you a little bit more attractive in terms of the actual knowledge yourself. No. To be brutally honest, we do just assume that the graduates don't know anything at all, and they are just really new, let's say, babies who doesn't know how to do anything, and we have to nurture them. We have these assumptions on every single graduate. So doesn't matter what you have, doesn't matter what you know, we have this same assumption about everybody. So trying to improve interviewers with your knowledge is not really going to help, but trying to impress your interviewer with your attitude and with your willingness to learn, with your skills, is going to help you more. And so that's basically what trying to get a job is about in the modern competitive industry. I'm sure that 15, 20 years ago, it would have been a little bit different. If you had known more, you might have gotten a job easier. But it's not the case anymore, especially with so many employers becoming more and more global and more larger. And the work itself getting more and more complicated. It's all about training on the job and learning on the job. So obviously, one important thing is actually to be able to learn on the job. A good example I can give you is at FTI Consulting when I first joined. So I was a quantitative finance consultant, so I'm doing a lot of valuation on derivatives, a lot of these things. And sometimes projects can be dependent from client to client, and sometimes we might be working on a really simple derivatives instrument, and sometimes we will look at really complex, confusing instrument. And when we do look at this really complex stuff, I'm not the only one who got confused by all these things. Even my manager, even my boss, MDs, senior managing directors, even they get confused by it. Even we have to have meetings to discuss what this product is really about and what do we need to do about it and how can we go about doing this valuation. And it doesn't take just a day or a couple of hours to figure it out. It might take days or weeks to actually figure it out. So it's definitely not a requirement for you to know absolutely everything to be able to get a job. But what it really does matter is if you show your employer you have the right attitude, right motivation, right sort of skills, and if you have any sort of internship or any other sort of certifications, that's the thing that matters the most.
I think we actually have a few more questions. So how are we doing with time? Are we good to answer those?
We only got 10 minutes left, so we can, answer it quick. We have 3 questions.
Yeah, I'll try to go through them quickly. Will banks disappear one day? Question from, I just lost it, CC Young. No, I don't think they will disappear. They will definitely have to change the way they service their clients, but disappear, I think they're vital to the financial services system and to the global economy. But they will definitely have to change their model and the way they service their clients, right? I personally, as a consumer, I want to have service quicker, faster, more more accurate and more innovative. I knew the day things were going to change when I deposited my check using my phone, right? I don't remember the last time I had to visit a branch, and I don't think I'll ever visit a branch again. So disappear, no, but definitely change their model. What do you think the importance of CV in getting an interview, Eric? You got to remember that the CV is your mirror, right? I mean, you have that 1 or 2 pages to tell your story. So you got to put the effort to reflect everything you've done in those pages. But equally important to sort of tailor it for each company and interview. It's good to have a standardized format for time efficiency, but at the end of the day, you're applying to a specific company for a specific role. So you don't want to keep whatever you used, to step your foot in other companies for your dream job. And also know your CV inside out, right? When you land an interview, your interviewer probably spend some time to learn your CV. So the last thing you want to do is don't pay attention and don't learn your CV and know what you're writing in there line by line. So that would be a disaster. Brexit, have you witnessed any significant changes since January 1st? Not massively. I mean, I know Amsterdam surpassed London as Europe's largest share trading at some point, but because I'm not into trading right now, I haven't felt any massive changes. The only thing I would say from my role is we are servicing fund managers through a branch in Luxembourg. Now, Luxembourg is still Europe, UK is not. So the regulator, FCA, came to us and said, right, I know it's a complicated model and you have some things to fix, but I'll give you 2-3 years. So we are under a temporary regime. So we've got 2-3 years to come up with a new solution to change our model and be able to service those clients through a UK entity rather than Luxembourg, which is still in Europe. So there's going to be changes. It's just not as apparent as people might think they will be on 1st of January, right? It's not like we stopped trading or we stopped servicing clients. I think we're still in a transitional period from a service point of view.
Yep, great. So thank you for all the answering from Ari and Darren, and also thanks for all the questions. It is insightful. I mean,